Let me also now play out this report by my colleague Harish earlier from Sarjapur Road. Take a look.
Overnight, heavy rains that lashed Bengaluru has resulted in waterlogging in several parts of the city. We are coming to you from Sarjapur Road outside the Wipro office. You can see the entire campus approach road has been inundated completely, and this is the scene across Sarjapura Road. Well, not just Sarjapura Road, several IT companies located in Marathahalli and Bomanahalli, and especially in Madhepura zone, have been affected because of heavy rains. This has also resulted in huge traffic snarls, almost a gridlock of sorts on Sarjapura Road, on Outer Ring Road. Once again, you have the road opposite to the Eco Space on Bengaluru completely inundated, resulting in heavy traffic snarl. People going to office on a Monday morning having a terrible time. There are reports of traffic pile-up to a good 3 to 4 kilometers on Sarjapur Road. Now remember, just last week the city had suffered heavy rains, after which the city also saw the Chief Minister go on an inspection drive and assure people that there would be actions taken that would ensure that such things don't repeat. But within a few days, we've seen the empty promises of the state government getting terribly exposed. Now there are questions on how the city is administered. People are asking why the city doesn't have a development minister, city development minister, dedicated city in charge minister, because the chief minister is the one who holds that portfolio. Currently, he might not have enough time to give on a day-to-day basis for city's administration and its issues. We do not have an elected council here, municipal council. For the last 2 years, the BBMP is without a mayor, without corporators. It's the bureaucrats and the 28 MLAs of the city who are currently governing the city and not doing a great job. The other aspect one has to point out here is that all this flooding that you see here is also partially because the lakes in the vicinity have been breached. They have been encroached. In some cases, their capacity has been reduced. As a result, when it rains, the rainwater has nowhere to go and then flows on the road. In some places, it's the encroachment of the Rajakalu ways which has led to this. The government says in excess of 1,000 such encroachments identified, only 500 of them cleared, 500 odd yet to be cleared, and the government says in the coming few days they will ensure that the encroachments are removed.
Our guest continues to be with us, but before that, let me also take in our caller joining us. Prashant is joining us from Bengaluru. Prashant, what do you think?
Hi, Shivani. I'm feeling glad that it's always CNN News18 picking up some relevant issues. And I congratulate Harish Upadhyaya because I've been following him since a while and he's been picking up really good issues, such very concrete issues.
Thank you so much.
I'm not sure if the media has already dialed in the respective member of parliament or the state chief minister or the local MLAs on where all the areas are affected to seek an immediate response. If they have done it so, I'm not sure what is the response they've got. By the way, you're just highlighting those areas where the multinational corporations are set up. And each of these corporations where they are set up are again owned by few, those who are again part of the state cabinet. Secondly, what you're showing is just the, like I said, tip of an iceberg, because there are 200 plus BBMP wards, which is managed by the BBMP authority, right? Even earlier, when I spoke to the CNN News18, I requested, through the media, I would want to request the Honorable Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, because he is coming up with many programs to benefit the common man. My sincere request is, why can't he come up with this one thing where he can call Swachh Rastha Abhiyan and keep all the roads clean, potholes free, drainage system free. Like, India is still facing these basic issues from a long time. I mean, it's been 75 years. We are entering Amrit Mahotsav, but have we cleared up these basic problems that the common citizen always faces?
Yeah. Well, Prashant, I take your view, and this is why state governments have to be held responsible. If they come to power, they have to do the work for that state. State governments are there for a reason, and they can't handle the infrastructure in their own, limits. Then I'm not sure what central governments can do. But I take your view. Sometimes it's helplessness that forces people to look at the Prime Minister for every solution everywhere in the country. But There is a municipality system, there is a state government, they have to do their job. Harish, you're listening to the viewers who are coming in and calling in, and there is a sense of helplessness, and we are watching some of these visuals where the water is knee high. These are areas I can clearly make out, some of them are under construction, but where you are, a lot of them are IT hubs. So what is the solution that has been ever talked about and can be done? Can the best minds of the city, Harish, come together and do something instead of just talking about it?
Look at the situation. Just getting some immediate emergency healthcare is such a huge problem in a city that ideally should be helpful to anyone who needs medical attention. You don't have to risk your life just to get to a nearby clinic or a hospital or get emergency care. And this is what is happening here. The entire 10 to 15 policemen now have to jump in, stop the traffic and ensure that first ambulances can go and then people can move. This is not something that you would expect in a city or anywhere. People migrate to the city because there are job opportunities, there are better medical facilities, but if you can't get to them because of terrible infrastructure, it defeats the purpose of people leaving their hometowns and coming to big metropolises like Bengaluru or any other city in the country. The larger problem or the larger question here is, how do we plan? Who plans? How do we govern it? Nobody planning it right now. The BDA, which is supposed to be the planning agency, is in fact caught up in scams after scams. Their chairman had to be removed by the government because the Supreme Court said this man in fact is giving out sites to political leaders against Supreme Court rules, so he had to be changed. They are busy giving out G category sites to politicians and giving out contracts and taking commissions. The BBMP, remember, doesn't have an elected body. It's IAS officers who are changed every year or two, who come in and do their bit and leave. Absolutely no accountability. Shivani, we've seen this happening for the last 5 to 7 years.
Right.
But we haven't heard a single engineer, a single bureaucrat being suspended or even removed completely from work. That hasn't happened at all. These are mistakes that bureaucrats committed, officials committed, that people now have to suffer. Someone turned a blind eye when a builder encroached a lake or a Raju Kaluve. Someone else allowed a building to come up in a buffer zone or not having parking space, or another engineer allowed a drain space to be narrowed so that they could save on the construction cost. All of that has resulted in this scenario, and none of these people are to be blamed. It's these officials and politicians. We still haven't seen any minister getting sacked for Bengaluru's infrastructure going down the drains. We haven't seen any official coughing up any sort of a money for people losing life in pothole deaths because that was substandard work.
And that's the important point. People are going to lose lives, businesses are going to lose money, people are going to lose their livelihoods, and who's going to be held responsible? If the Chief Minister holds the city development portfolio, then ultimately the buck stops with him.